If you knew you only had one chance ever in your lifetime to get it right, when would you want to know how important nutrition is in healing these ligament injuries and healing an injury that you have now after a car crash or some other traumatic event? Dr. Ryan Livingston here, and I want to go over the top recommendations that I give to my patients, especially when they've got some traumatic injury from a car crash. You don't want to miss this because you're not going to get this education anywhere else. And I don't have the time in the clinic to sit down and do a consult with everyone. But instead, what I want to do is add massive value by going through this PDF that I've created with Dr. Cronk. And it is an injury recommendations guideline for nutrition. So whether you got a hand copy, physically printed copy, or you've got this electronic copy, they're both. This is an easy to understand flip through guide, no different than actually flipping through a real page in real life. So follow along. There's a couple things I'm going to tell you guys too that aren't in the guidelines. Now the most important thing is going to be, of course, hydrating. If you don't hydrate, you're not going to get enough fluid into the tissues. Plain and simple, you're not going to flush nutrients in or out of that area, and lack of hydration, lack of liquid is going to cause it to further squeak and grind and crush, right? All those terms sound horrible, and they are, but that's what's physically going on in your body when you become dehydrated. If you're sipping on your water, make sure it's a good water. If you can get distilled water and add minerals back in, like I have here, Trace Minerals, phenomenal product. It's got minerals that you can put into your water. Now on to the most important stuff you guys probably want to know about. What do you got to eat? Well, first things you don't want to eat. You do not want alcohol in your body. You do not want fried, greasy foods. These things are going to clog the liver, clog the arteries, clog your body, and force it to spend extra time detoxifying. And it's not going to care about your joints. It's going to be protecting your organs first and foremost, when it should be spending that time repairing the injuries, especially the spinal injuries. We want to focus on ligaments and the health of ligaments and the strength and density of your bone, because the ligaments attach to bone. You also want to make sure that you get proper sleep. The guide goes over proper sleep for a newborn all the way up to adults. You guys can look at that guideline. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Adults need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep, depending. Now, the other key thing you've got to know, not only for nutrition, but also for your treatment protocols, you have one opportunity to get this right. It doesn't matter how much money you settle for your case. You've got to focus on your injury, because you're going to have this the rest of your life for most of you, especially if you're not following these guidelines. You got to understand that healing takes time, especially when you're traumatically injured. These injuries take longer. You're not an athlete that just ran and sprained their ankle. You're in a several ton metal object flying at forces that the human was not designed to be able to handle, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour or more, slamming several ton objects together. You're going to have damages that an athlete would never encounter, which is why you have one opportunity to heal correctly. You've got to make sure that you do this. First few days to weeks is going to be the inflammatory phase. In that phase, your body is going to be inflamed. That is a normal, healthy, natural process. You just don't want it to stay there any longer than it needs to. Okay, that's why eating properly is so important. The next phase after the first couple weeks, and this is going to coincide with your treatment too, first phase is the acute phase, the inflammatory phase. We want to get you out of that phase as quick as possible. All we're going to be doing is trying to get you out of pain. There's not much any doctor can do, let alone us doing manipulations or doing adjustments to the spine, doing physical labor work to get your body to move better. That's the most important thing you can do. We have to get in there and do that. You have to allow that phase to occur. The next phase after that is then when you're out of pain, then we can start to get a little more aggressive or intensify the treatments and the rehab. Same thing with the nutrition. This is called the proliferative phase, which is where the cells in your body start to regrow. They're not inundated with all this inflammatory signals and these pain signals, and they're not worried about flushing out all the toxic byproducts or the metabolic breakdown, just like after workout. Your body is now trying to get in good nutrients and try to grow and replenish that area. Just like if a fire came in and wiped out your house, you've got to send in a unit to get in there, stop the fire, clean up all the debris and junk out of that house. That's the inflammatory phase. The next phase is bringing in all the materials to rebuild the walls, the studs, the drywalls, then put the electrical wiring in, then put up the drywall, then put, right? You see, that's the phase of the proliferative phase. That's where things are growing. And the next phase after that, after several months, because that can take several months, okay? 4 to 21 days, but realistically it takes a little longer than that. The phase after that is going to be the remodeling phase, which is where things have really joined together. They've started to strengthen down, but you've got to work hard to remodel them along the proper lines of stress. So when it comes to like your spine or your elbow, your arm, your shoulder, you got to get that back in alignment and start to strengthen in that proper healthy position. Everyone knows that your shoulder forward like this is not a healthy shoulder. You've got to get it back in place, then let this remodel. Same thing with the neck. If your neck is still like this, you've got to get that healthy curve back into the spine, especially if you're trying to heal a spinal ligament injury that has instability, ligament laxity. You know that your neck is in an improper curve, which happens in car crashes. You get an S-shaped curve. That's the second harmonic. That's also known as Euler's buckling. If you have that in your spine, you've really got to work hard in this phase to get it to remodel back to the right position, because otherwise you're going to suffer a lot more serious issues down the road if you're not already experiencing them. That's not what this talk is about. This is about nutrition though. You want to eat those foods for inflammation, okay? Back to the inflammatory phase. You do not want alcohol. You do not want processed foods. You don't want vegetable oils. These things are all going to cause dramatic toxicity in your body. And if you're somebody who really does want to dive down the rabbit hole, we can do tests, lab tests, urine tests, hair analysis, things like that, depending on which state you're in, to see how much toxicity is in your body and how much havoc these things are wreaking on you. Are your arteries clogged and plaqued? You really want to eat anti-inflammatory foods. You guys have got this guide with you. If not, ask one of the staff and we'll get it to you. Olive oil, fish, mackerel. These things are loaded with zinc, selenium, all these things that you need to grow and nourish your healthy collagenous tissue, collagen. Avocados, mixed nuts and seeds, healthy olive oil, enzymes like bromelain in pineapple, okay, if you're not allergic to it. Garlic, turmeric, curcumin supplements are even better if you need a quick response. Cocoa, pure cocoa powder, mixed with some hot water, a tiny bit of good raw honey, or just stevia, phenomenal. Teas are phenomenal as well. Now what you want to eat for the proliferative phase, and then the remodeling phase. We say eat the rainbow. Include a diverse mix of vegetables and fruits into your diet. Antioxidants, vitamin C, getting some vitamin D from the mackerel and the fish and the cod liver oil. Now all these things you can eat. And if you want to go further, really want to accelerate your healing, you really want to make sure that you take this one chance, this one opportunity that you have to heal properly, then you can supplement with high-powered herbs, high-powered extracts. Again, your insurance is not responsible for that. Your insurance will never cover that. No insurance will cover you getting healthy. That's not what they're in the game for. So if that's something you want to do, just know that that is going to be something you have to pay for. And I promise you, well worth it. Hopefully that helped, guys. I'm going to show you a couple quick supplements that my patients, not just patients that are in car crashes, patients that I see across the board are taking as well. But these are some of the same supplements that you're going to want to use yourself. And here's a couple examples. We already showed you the trace minerals that you can throw into your water. That'll help get you some minerals and help with the hydration, okay? It also helps balance the pH. We mentioned a couple oils in there. Eat a lot of fish. You can also, if you're gonna buy a fish oil, I'm a huge proponent of cod liver oil. It's also shown, there's a lot of research out there that looks at cod liver oil and the immune boosting effects, or the effects it has on your immune system and not getting sick, essentially. Black seed oil, phenomenal oil as well. Both are gonna help with many things in conjunction with being anti-inflammatory. And then one of the most popular of all, probably the most widely selling supplement I even know of today, besides vitamin D3 probably, is whole body collagen. Getting in a good physician grade collagen, sometimes with peptides, can be even better. You've got to be taking this consistently. You just have to. You cannot avoid not to. And then there's other supplements out there too, like glucosamine, chondroitin, glucosamine, which your body will also create on its own. Hey, if you guys need any other help, please like, share this with friends and family. You don't have to be in a car crash to be using these supplements. Again, the majority of my clients and my patients that I see, several states, are taking supplements like this. Why? Because they're on the cutting edge. They're trying to be really healthy. They're trying to be proactive. They want a healthy body that's going to last them a long time, not just recover from an injury. If that makes sense, punch that like button, hit subscribe. Please share this with friends and family, and especially someone that you know that's suffering from any pain or disability. Let them know. Until next time, take some action.